Hey everybody, Rune the Gaming Dad from the Arc Trade Federation. Today we're going over Community Crunch number 451, and there's a lot to talk about in this Community Crunch. Some good, some not so good, but let's jump into it. So first things first, they're talking about the Unreal Engine 5.5 upgrade. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's going to happen with the upgrade. So benefits performance, mainly around rendering load times, restructuring the packages so that maps other than the island become optional downloads, which is pretty nice. So if you don't play certain maps, you don't really have to download them, because even Ark Survival Evolved was a very big game to keep on your hard drive. So that's kind of nice to have that. But I'm going to go up here just real quick, targeting a launch sometime between April 15th and May 15th. So we're going to give you a little bit of a window. Hopefully this is maybe a change in the way Wildcard's done things in the past, where they've given specific dates. Now they're giving themselves an entire month, which, hey, I'd rather it be a month time frame and you come in within the first 2 weeks. So there's a lot of, I guess, collateral damage when it comes to this UE 5.5 upgrade. So here's the deal. New releases such as Rags, which I think everybody's looking forward to, at least those that have played Ark for a long time know that Ragnarok's definitely a favorite map, as well as Valguero and Lost Colony. And they're going to go back. In the future, they hope to go back and take the time to some of the writings to make further improvements to already released maps. So I find it interesting that the newer maps, we're going to get some of the benefits of this, whereas some of the maps that have already been released, we may not see everything. So they also go into modders and understanding that, you know, when they upgrade this, there's a lot of stuff that gets done that might mess up mods. So they talk a little bit about trying to make sure that the mods work as 5.5 upgrade comes out. And they kind of talk about how going from 5.1 to 5.5, they couldn't reuse some stuff, so they kind of had to go back and do kind of start, I would say start from scratch, but you know, there's a lot to do. So next, here's all the stuff you don't want to read. It's still underway, April and May. There's some performance benefits as they move on, and the maps will immediately become optional downloads, which we talked about, and that we hope that the future upgrades won't be painful. So hopefully we can get that done. Here's a very interesting tidbit that I kind of saw on the crunch and thought I'd talk about. So one more thing. This summer, a one-click low system requirement mode will get the game to run on GeForce 1080 level cards on systems that have 16 gigs of RAM. To quote Wildcard, the game won't look pretty, but it will look intelligible, similar in quality to the shader model 4 mode of Ark Survival Evolved. So, you know, the game is unfortunately not the most optimized in the world. I think that's an understatement. But also, you know, if you're running on an older machine, you can't play this game. Like, it is brutal. I've tried playing this on a kind of low-level handheld, and it is really hard. So for them to have something like this, maybe we'll get more people into it, those that don't want to go out and buy a new graphics card, or in this case, maybe even a new PC to play this game. Hopefully this helps. Okay, now on to the other stuff. Speaking of Ragnarok, we've got an update on that too, as this map is being developed specifically in Unreal 5.5. They're not able to release it until the update's live. So they've locked in a June 2nd launch date. I'm going to let that sink in. At the recording of this video, it is March 28th of 2025. So that's a long time to wait for Ragnarok, considering it was supposed to be out a lot sooner than that. So, as usual, we recognize this disappointing, as we know how beloved this map is, but hey, they're saying ride or die for June 2nd. And very interestingly enough, June 2nd is also the date that the pre-order for Lost Colony comes out. So not only do you have the Ragnarok map launching on June 2nd, but you also have the pre-order for Lost Colony. And if you haven't watched a previous video from us, the Ark Aquatica expansion for Ark Survival Evolved, and no, that's not a joke, is also slated for June of 2025. So the beginning of June is going to be very interesting as we move along with try to get more maps for Ascended, but also what the heck's going to go on with Ark Survival Evolved. The Excellent Adventure, which is the Easter event that we're always used to seeing on the official servers as well as in Ark as a whole, it's going to take place during April. The precise dates are still being figured out as they're trying to figure out the upgrade as well. My thing is, as long as we can get that event, there's always some great colors there and there's some cool stuff going on. So that's coming down the line as well. So they say, hey, we're working on a lot, which I get. Right, there's so many things going on, and they talk about there's a patch that came out yesterday. If you've played, you've seen the big patch. We're going to get into that patch in a little bit. I want to finish the crunch, and then I want to take the second half of the video to try to go over some highlights of the patch if you haven't seen it. Okay, so the rest of the crunch. So those have been playing on official on Astraeos, myself included. Servers transfers open up on the 11th of April, so you do not have to wait long. Astraeos has been a great map. Myself and Valeros from the Arc Trade Federation really enjoyed it, so can't wait to see server transfers open up so we can bring all those OP dinos over and have some real fun with it. So those open up on the 11th of April, and there are on the 20th of May, so May 20th, this is the list of all of the servers, and I'll just kind of scroll through it as I talk, that are going to go away. So low pop servers, things like that. It happens from time to time. There are some, and I'm from North America, so to lose PvE servers on Scorched probably isn't a big surprise, considering even on Evolved it wasn't a very highly played map. So there's a lot of Scorched Earth ones that are going away. But it's usually a lot of PvP servers that go away because they kind of push that out. But again, you can see more Scorched Earth maps going away. So they still intend to provide larger capacities and launches, which I think is great, as long as they don't sunset a lot of them. So obviously the Dinotherium and some new skins are out as well. It was part of the patch that we'll go over in a little bit, but that is now out. They've added some like creature skins and things like that, stuff you can put on there, which I think is pretty cool. And then obviously for the weekend, for those that play on official, Happy Day 3X. So got that on a server rates update this afternoon for Arc, which I think is great. And then we also get into all the normal stuff with the community crunch, with concept art and things like that. Art from people that play the game and things like that. That is a pretty cool build, by the way. That is an amazing build. I'll stop on that. Anyway, let's get into the patch. So that's kind of the second part of what we're talking about. So this patch was released on 3/28, which is actually our 3/27, which was yesterday at the recording of this video. So the Dinotherium added to the island, Scorch, the center extinction, and Astraeos. They've added some things for the battle rig. I've actually started working with the battle rig since they've gone through this patch and tried to fix some stuff. Finally built one and messing with it a little bit, as well as some skins. Okay, I'll try to go through this and hit the highlights, and I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it a little better where you can actually read it. So there's a lot to cover, and I'm going to just try to hit the highlights. So, one, the skeleton trophies are grindable now, providing some keratin. That's great, and they stack. That was super annoying to get all those skeleton trophy pieces. So, anyway, that's great. And reduce the amount of pieces dropping, which is great. Here's a big one. So, the wind turbine has been redesigned for gameplay balance. So, they now take decay damage over 14 days, stopping at 10% health, and they stop providing power until they repair them. So that's a big one, because the wind turbine was essentially unlimited power. You didn't have to worry about building a generator, do all this stuff. No gasoline needed. You just would throw the turbine up and you would have unlimited power. That is now changing. So if you have wind turbines up, understand that's what's going to happen. And it checks for structures around the wind turbine, and any structures placed close to it will block it from being powered, so they increase that check radius. So just so you know. and it no longer provides power while being placed underwater, which, if you got a wind turbine underwater, that's a little strange, but if it worked, it worked. Now it doesn't. Tesla coils, I haven't really talked a lot about that. Creatures with carts attached can now be picked up and grabbed, and they're creatures that are based on a cart will fall off after it's picked up. There's more to talk about with carts too, but we'll just go through a little bit more stuff. So add an indicator in the tech teleporter screen to set the public, which is great. So now, in fact, I was playing this morning, and if you have a public teleporter, for those that play with multiple people, it does show that it's public. And this is the one, thank the Lord, of all the changes that I've seen, this is the best one. Fixed favorite servers disappearing from the session list after a server update. Thank God. So for those that play unofficial, you are bound by your server number. There's no doubt. You can save it. We usually write ours down or put it in some sort of shared Discord chat, which the Arc Trade Federation Discord is free to join if you ever want to join. You can ask questions there. And I try to answer them as best I can. But it's so nice for the favorites to not go away. It was super frustrating just having to type in and remember all the numbers, because when you have multiple maps, when you play it official, you do want to keep all of them, keep bases on those satellite bases, things like that. But thank God that they're finally fixing that. So as we scroll down, there's some just random stuff here. I'll try to go slow in case there's something that you want to see. They talk a little bit about fixed using the Zeppelin to transport wild dinos to grief other players on PvE. I've never done that. I usually don't mess with people on my PvE servers. Those that play on the official servers with the Arc Trade Federation, we tend to be great neighbors and great players, but I can see how people would do this. That's pretty tough. Wyverns weren't given kibble. They are now. And then there's another piece that I'm going to go down here that I wanted to get to because I thought it was very interesting. Because there's so many different pieces. This is a giant patch. I mean, it is. There's so much stuff that they go through. So the battle rig. Fixed a case where it gets stuck inside the garage after removing and adding attachments. That didn't happen to me, but I also did this after the update. The ability to destroy redwood trees on extinction. So you can put something on the front of the battle rig that will basically just blow away anything in front of it, whether it's rocks, whether it's trees or not. And this is where they talk about falling through the mesh with the user, and then there's a lot of things where it would just you mesh out by using the battle rig. Again, this is what I was told and heard. I never used it except until yesterday, really. So it is nice to have that, and also fix the photo mode having collision with battle rigs, which is nice because I use photo mode a lot for creating thumbnails and things like that. So Survivor Mate, my frustrating friend, fixed it getting confused with resource variants such as scrap metal and metal ingots, fixed the dock station floating. If they could just fix the thing not getting stuck in the corner all the time, I'd be super happy. Don't think we've quite gotten there yet, but I would love to have that. There is another update on this, and I may have passed it up, but I want to get to it. There are times that your dino will if you teleport it or throw it out of a pod, it will show as level 1 and just stay that way until I've logged out and logged back in and it's fixed it, or I've potted it and thrown it out and it's fixed it. But they have addressed that as well. And there's another couple pieces here. They go through a lot of Astraeos changes here. It's a lot to do with the Cyclops. Again, I haven't gone into boss fights yet unofficially there. I've been doing element veins to get my element there. But that is kind of the big pieces of that. There's a ton on this patch notes. Like there's a ton of stuff. It's just crazy. But adding the new Dinotherium is awesome, and fixing the favorites is the greatest thing that I've seen in a while. So again, ton of stuff going on. There is some disappointment, obviously, with Ragnarok being delayed, and I think that's what's stopping a lot of people from coming to Ascended. Is if you want to play Ragnarok, why in the world would you not? Why would you play Ascended when Ragnarok's not there? But I think it's not surprising, but also kind of disappointing at the same time. So just wanted to say thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful or like your content, please like, the video and subscribe to the channel. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you all on the next video.